Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And the government that wants to prepare the ground for the future of our state and is working towards it every day. You would like to hand over to our children a banner without stain, a planning without obstruction, and a planning that is of international standard and global best practices. On this note, let's put our hands together for Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo, the Governor of the state.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, with a resounding ovation, let's make welcome the Governor.
Also coming in is the former Governor of Lagos State, former Minister for Works and Housing,
His Royal Majesty, the Vice Chairman and other members of the Council of Obas in Lagos State, top functionaries and head of ministerial agencies, religious and community leaders, chairmen and members of various professional bodies and associations, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to welcome you to the Lagos State Physical Planning Summit, mindful of the imperatives of a livable and sustainable built environment. We are committed to ensuring that our cities' growth is guided by sustainable, inclusive, and innovative planning principles. This summit, with the theme Rethinking Lagos, a new vision for regional and integrated mega cities, provides a unique opportunity for us to come together and chart a course for the future of physical planning in Lagos State. We will explore strategies to address pressing issues of implementation, investment, sustainability, and physical planning service delivery. The paradox of Lagos' success is that of a great city, the commercial nerve center of Nigeria, the center of excellence, has achieved unimaginable growth and progress. But this success has also brought forth unique challenges that we must address. Lagos, with a population of over 22 million on an area of 3,577 square kilometers, about 20% of which is water, is acclaimed to have the greatest rate of urbanization in Africa, probably in the world. The city is therefore confronted with urban decay and threat to impact the climate change, among others. The questions we need to ask and answer: this is the time for us to protect our assets. And as we know, our assets here in Lagos is our land, which of course is waterlogged. Thus, we need to think about the sustainability of these our assets. And of course, we need to maintain our economic position and status as #1 economy in Africa. How we raise the level of the implementation of our various operational development plans, and also the need for us to raise the level of compliance to building planning permits. Over the 2 decades, successive administrations have addressed these challenges through a series of interventions and strategic policy initiatives. Upon the expiration of the Lagos Metropolitan Master Plan 1980, the Lagos State Government, through the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, embarked on the preparation of several hierarchy of plans to update about 12 master and model city plans. have been prepared along with many lower order plans. These operative development plans, as we refer to them as ODP, are the basis for sustainable urban development in Lagos, in alignment with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. They have also formed the base for all sector-specific development plans, such as the Lagos State Strategic Transport Master Plan, the Drainage Master Plan, the Water Master Plan, among others, to address critical infrastructural challenges. The government has continued to intensify efforts in attracting investment for the implementation of the various proposals in our ODPs. These include air and seaports, the rail and water transport system, tourism, and energy. Remarkably, a few of these projects, such as the Fort Mela Bridge, the light rail metro line, the blue, the red, and the green lines, the deep sea port, the upcoming airport at Idegileki, and the ferry services are already attracting significant private sector investment. The administration of our dear Governor, Mr. Sanwo, has been very responsive to the need for an orderly, organized, livable, and sustainable environment, and has demonstrated it by a dogged implementation of our Team Plus agenda, especially the making of Lagos the 21st century economic pillar. The commitment of our dear Governor to the upliftment of the sector is indicated by the massive investment of the Lagos State government in the preparation of several hierarchies of development plans and the gracious approval of the Lagos State Planning Summit, which we hold today, as a perennial platform for addressing pressing challenges, opportunities through discussions, collaboration, and decision-making. The summit is thus aimed at better positioning the state for investment as proposed in our ODPs. It has brought experts in the field of urban planning, resilience, development partnership, legal and policy analysis, risk management, project financing, governance, to explore options available for implementation of the ODPs for sustainable development. Consequently, the median Lagos Physical Planning Summit will, for over the next 2 days, explore proposals in the ODPs for implementation, evaluating the levels of implementation, identifying challenges of implementation, associated risks, and the challenges of assessing finance. Other highlights of the summit include deliberating on options of infrastructural development in Lagos State, as well as examining the legal and institutional arrangement for the implementation of the ODPs, evaluating the existing governance structures and capacity for master plan implementation, recommending measures aligned with the global best practices in physical planning, and drawing attention of investors and development partners to potentials and opportunities for bankable projects in our dear state. I have no doubt in the competence of experts and resource persons here present today who will do justice to the theme of the summit, as this will lead to new initiatives in overseeing the ideas and approaches implementation of our conclusion. I wish to extend my deepest gratitude to Mr. Sanwo, our dear Governor, for his unwavering commitment and visionary leadership which has significantly contributed to the growth and development of our dear states and is clearly a greater Lagos. I am honored to recognize the keynote speaker, His Excellency Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, former governor of Lagos State and former super minister, for his outstanding leadership and selfless service to the state. We are privileged to have His Excellency, renowned for his innovative governance and infrastructure development, share his experience as keynote speaker today. I would also like to thank Mr. Deputy Governor, who is unavoidably absent today, for his constant calling on us in terms of doing the needful for the plans that we produce. Lagos, we must leverage our successes to overcome our challenges. We owe it to ourselves, to our children, and to future generations to begin to us a befitting state. Thank you and God bless. Thank you very much.
Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Executive Governor of Lagos State, my father, the Oni of Ife, the former governor, the fabulous minister. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, everybody else. Thank you. I was just told I have just 1 minute to speak, but I'm not sure I can speak about anything mega in 1 minute or two. But I'll do my best and fast. Ladies and gentlemen, today we stand at a pivotal moment in the history of Lagos. We are here to dream big, to challenge ourselves, and to chart a course for the future that will redefine not only Lagos, but the concept of what we call a mega city. Let me start with a story that inspired me a lot. A tale of a transformation that began in 1958. In that year, a young boy was born. An uncommon vision, a dream to devise an unseen future and build what had never been done before. This boy would grow up to become Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, a visionary leader who transformed Dubai from a modest trading town into a global beacon of innovation and luxury. Where many saw camels and desert, Sheikh Mohammed envisioned towers and marbles. He saw a geographic opportunity to bring the world to him and build flags of concrete into the sky. The iconic Burj Khalifa we all know today, the incredible feat built in 6 years by more than 30,000 dedicated workers, 1,750 engineers, 45 architects, and over 50 leading designers from across the world. We shall all agree today that this iconic building has helped position Dubai as the central destination nexus of the Eastern and Western Hemisphere. This can happen for Lagos as well. History will struggle to forget the Lee Kuan Yews of this world, a visionary leader who transformed the very fabric of a one-time struggling city, a port city of Singapore, just like Lagos. But it built a city built on a reputation of poverty, challenges, underdevelopment, and worse at the time than the third world countries. Yet, today, Lee Kuan Yew, his bold vision has created a standard that has helped shape Singapore into becoming a global symbol for innovation, for prosperity, for financial inclusion, and many other things. These examples teaches us a useful lesson that today's trials can become tremendous opportunities. Now, let's talk about Lagos. To anticipate any future, one must appreciate the past. What do we see when we look at our city today? What do we see when we talk about Lagos? I see a metropolis bursting with extreme potential. You have over 20, 30 different tribes living in one harmony. This fast-growing city in Africa, with a population of 21 million people, growing at a compounded rate of 4% annually, one would expect that this city can hit a population of 40 million people before 2030. This, for us, shall be an opportunity, and it shall be an opportunity and not a threat. Lagos is one of the largest economies on the continent, contributing over 30% to the Nigerian GDP. An innovation hub with over 20,000 urban and rural roads, complemented by the ambitious Blue Line rail system, a first of its kind in the whole of Africa. Rapid urbanization is fueling and thriving real estate markets with an estimate of 10 million people commuting, navigating this vibrant city daily. But the question is, can our infrastructure compete with that of Egypt? Do we have that infrastructure to compete with that of South Africa? Are we content with where we are today? And can we challenge ourselves to do better for the future of Lagos? Yes, under the leadership of our dear Governor, His Excellency Governor Sanwo, of course from the Managing Director of LSPDC to the CEO of the Lagos PLC, we have witnessed significant urban renewal milestones from modernizing our transport system to implementing public-private partnership, innovative healthcare system to empowering our youth. We are seeing a strong foundation for the future and for that mega city we all want to do. Thank you. It is also evident that the next governor has a big shoe to fit, especially with this urgent demand for rapid infrastructure growth. An ambitious next governor should be thinking about how our infrastructure can compete with that of South Africa. How can we create ideas and disruptive things that we can say that we can compete with the entire world? These feats are not easy, but it requires great leadership, of course, and great thinkers. The man on my right is putting me under pressure, but I'll round up now. And so what do I see? What's my vision for Lagos? Let me give you a picture of it. I imagine a Lagos with 100 skyscrapers piercing the sky. I imagine 8-lane highways bustling with traffic, covering 10 million commuters towards a dynamic economic cluster. From Ikeja to Ikorodu, from Island to Ekpe, linking up the rest of the country and the West African coast. Our island, our neighbor, where no building can rise. I imagine where no building should rise and shall rise without going below 20 floors. I see a great Lagos.
Please put your hands together. When Pastor speaks, you will. Pastor runs deep in his vein where your time is up, sir.
Okay, I have 2 minutes, just give me 1 minute, please. Anyway, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, we should not. I can't discuss a mega city without elaborating. But thank you so much, Mr. Governor, my royal fathers. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can do better than that. Please put your hands.
Your Excellency, the very hard-working governor of Lagos State, Your Excellencies, Your Royal Majesties, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me thank the government and the fiscal planning team in Lagos State, for example, for convening this meeting. This is a very important meeting, and I am thankful that I am able to participate, but more importantly, that I have the opportunity to speak after the Honorable Commissioner has spoken, and after the representative of the Honorable Minister has spoken, and after Shiji has spoken, and you will see common threads that resonate in what they have to say: sustainability, investment, development, and implementation. So the question I asked when I got the invitation to speak is this: why should we be talking when we all know what needs doing? And I think all those who have spoken before me clearly point the way forward. There is a lot that needs to be done. But of course, as to be expected, one of the most respected town planners that I know in Nigeria, Mr. Tony Aide, he was the emissary of the organizers to me. And here we are. He knows how to twist my hand and make a compelling case. And he argued, yes, there's a lot to talk about, sir. And even if all we do while we talk is to remind ourselves of what remains to be done. And when he said that, I said, okay, I will come, just to remind each other about what remains to be done. And so that's why I said those who spoke before me have already walked the path I will tread, which is to remind ourselves what needs to be done. But just before I go in there, what really is a mega city? How many people in this meeting know what a mega city is? And I ask this question not in any derisory manner, but in reality of the fact back then that people used to ask me, Governor, where is the mega city? So for not a few, it was a sacred place, a special place, almost like a heavenly place. And I recall that it was my responsibility to continue to enlighten that it is not a destination, it is a status. A status of the number of people within a spatial environment designated as cities. And it was cities that had populations of 10 million and above. So once you become mega, your headache really becomes mega. Two days ago, we were watching the European football series, and I was asking somebody when last he saw Liechtenstein, the small principality nation, play football last. Liechtenstein has a population of about 40,000 people. That's the entire country's population. They don't have a known army. I think they are situated somewhere between Switzerland and one other country. So those people provide their security and their defense. But they are one of the richest nations in the world. So I'm sure Governor Sanwo will be happy if he had only 40,000 people to provide for. More than enough water, more than enough houses, more than enough roads. But unfortunately, his burden is measured in millions. Mega burden. There is a country called Iceland. I think Nigeria played them in one of the knockout stages of the Russian World Cup. They had quite a following in that World Cup. And somebody said, look, who did they leave at home? Because it seems the whole country has come to the World Cup. The entire population of the country is under 400,000 people. And many of them have come to support at the World Cup. But why is this diversion necessary? It is to understand the context of this meeting, how to organize in a mega city, and the kind of mega materials that would be needed. In other city-states, for example, maybe in those kind of cities I've spoken about, maybe it's just one rail line that you will require. Lagos has a concept and a master plan for 7, and we are at 2. So, in that mega arrangement, what is the role of the town planner? Who is the town planner? And I think that for me, and I've argued, the most important member, in my view, of the cabinet of a mega city like Lagos, the most important member, first and foremost, is the town planner. Because it is his responsibility to envision how the state, the environment will evolve. So you will see Dr. Olumide when he was here, he was talking about roads, he was talking about water, he was talking about... He hasn't limited himself to planning approval. But, big but, and this is the heart of the matter. One of my mentees and I were having a conversation, and we took the view that regrettably, very regrettably, I say this with respect, but I think it's factual, and I will make the case. The town planner has not been as vocal as he should be, especially in this environment. The town planner has not taken the driver's seat. And I think that compared to other professionals, the town planner has been somewhat diffident. So on radio and TV, how many times do you hear accountants, taxmen, tax practitioners, lawyers like me, architects like architect Ali Baba, and economists like Ben come and talk to us? How many times do you see town planners? Just think about it. But they should be the ones we see every day, too frequently in fact. So, and in my view, if the town planner steps forward and begins to take us on that journey of visioning, on that journey to prosperity, some of the problems we agonize about today will be solved much quicker because we will understand why and what needs to be done. So that is the first point I wish to make, and that if the role of the town planner determines whether or not prosperity matures in a land or poverty reigns, because nature has been kind enough to us, if not kinder than most. We have almost everything. The land resource, the oceans, the creeks, the landforms, everything is here. But the real question is, how have we used those resources? And that is the remit of the town planner. I envision the role of the town planner as one who decides how these assets, nature's assets, are used for the optimum benefit and the common prosperity of the environment. The town planner should, in my view, lead us in determining what parts of the land provide roads, schools, markets, places of worship, health facilities, recreation facilities, waste and water treatments, before deciding what is left for building dwelling houses. If this is done, I think that we would avoid the current situation where people first take land for dwelling, then there is no land to build the roads to get to their houses. I know of one estate that was parceled out many years ago, but nobody has been able to live there. Because whilst they were parceling out the land, they didn't sit down to say, how do we get it? So everybody took their own parcels of land, but there was no way to get in, and there was no way to get out. I think the Attorney General knows that estate. Is that prosperity or poverty? So it's an asset without value. I know of one estate here in Lagos, prime real estate. There is only one road in and one road out. In my view, the value of that estate is diminishing by the day, and it is ultra prime real estate. But unfortunately, planning did not conceptualize choice of ingress and egress. So in that real estate, if somebody there gives you an appointment that is coming to see you, a journey that should take 5 minutes, less than 2 kilometers drive, they can't keep appointments beneath 40 minutes. Your guess is as good as mine where I'm talking about. But I believe the governor is also aware, and I'm sure behind him is doing something. But it shows the critical role of all of the moving parts and the role of the town planner. It should therefore not surprise us that in some other jurisdictions, we have straight roads, grid network of roads, and mostly in our jurisdictions, when you look out from the plane, when you are about to land or take it, you see our roads winding because we first grab the land before we find a way to get there. And these are some of the reasons why I argue that the town planner has not been as vocal and as frontal as they can be. I make the point that, therefore, we should remind ourselves that it is the town planner who will determine how we get water supply, how we get power supply, and other utilities, and where they will be located. It is the planner's job to use population numbers in the possession of the economic planner. That's the Ministry of Budget. I think that's where Mr. Akwe George currently serves. They must sit together every weekend. What are the numbers like? How many people need water? What do you have? How many people don't have a job? And how do we then make this more efficient and easy for them? How much water do they need? And it is all of these that are used to develop a development plan. When the town planner has envisioned where all of this will be, then the economic planner will begin to put numbers to them. As I speak, the question to ponder is how many new cemeteries, and I don't intend to be morbid, but we're all going to die. And I always say those who don't want to die better return back to where they came from. But everybody who came here is going, including me and you. So how many new cemeteries have we built post-independence? And go and look at the post-independent ones that we inherited. Now the walkways are burial grounds. These are the absences of the town planner, regrettably. But they are reminders. As I said, we are coming to remind ourselves what needs to be done. Because, as I say, death is certain after life. If the town planner decides on these critical development plans, including the rail, as Lagos State has commendably done, it is the responsibility of the economic planner to put numbers to them. This will form the basis of budgets from year to year that the finance team and the treasury department have to raise money for. Since there is a persuasive view that this conversation can be useful if it reminds us of the things we already know, let me now pivot to a few reminders. And the first reminder that I pivot to is that we passed what I think was then a far-sighted and visionary planning law in 2014. It was on the back of a conference such as this, and we got all of the planners in Lagos and to come and lead us into a law that will work. It was a law unlike any other in that space at the time in this country and in these parts. And part of the objective was to ensure that buildings were constructed in conformity with the approved plans and also with the specifications in those approved plans. And we created, for the first time, a building control agency to serve as a check and a balance to the power to approve, which was in one place, and the power to control, which was in another place. We separated them. The long-term objective of this was that once buildings were started, whether during construction or after construction, they will stay up and not collapse. But sadly, the stigma of non-compliance still remains with us. I think it was just yesterday or 2 days ago in Orile, and the building came down. And even in the prime areas of our great state, non-compliance has led to structures coming down and lives lost. Back then, I remember that one major religious building collapsed in the twilight of my administration. We set up a coroner's inquest, and I believe that findings were made. But the question to ask from the planning department is what happened to the report of the coroner. Let me remind us also that in embracing our mega city status, Lagos State back then developed 9 model city plans, and I think that they are listed somewhere, I think around page 45 of the brochure for this conference. And the point I just want to make as a reminder is that those plans may now require some updating, but the implementation of those plans must not be forsaken. Otherwise, we gather here in vain if we can't implement. And I'm happy that the Honorable Commissioner himself spoke about implementation and all those who spoke after him. Let me remind us also that the Add in Your Water Works Phase 2 needs to be urgently concluded, and that new ones should be planned and implemented to ensure that Lagos is a functional mega city. A city-state without water leaves a lot to be done. And we must not forget to complete the Ekpe waste collection and recycling plants and finish the work at Olusoso in order to retain our ability to manage our waste. I must here acknowledge the current administration's efforts in completing about 17 different housing estates, but we urge that new ones must be planned, commenced, and constructed. I think that part of the transport planning efforts must include now, this is me just thinking, why is it that we cannot have many government offices beyond the local government now in our suburbs? Why should everybody come to Alausa? if we have like these satellite offices, technology now allows us to link them together, and they're still functioning in a most efficient way. I think this will also reduce the pressure on transport services and infrastructure and commuting. This is a matter for the planner to think about. I must, of course, commend the administration for advancing the work on the blue and the red line, and also initiating work now. I hear from the governor's recent trip to China about plans to begin to finance the construction of the Green Line. And all of this deserve commendation. But while these works go on, I want to say that we cannot abdicate our state's far-reaching work on the bus rapid transit system, which was then the first in Africa. So that was a model from South America, Brazil, Colombia, and all of that. But it was the first time a BRT system was designed and built and operated in Africa. And I argue here, as part of a reminder, that what we need to do is to reclaim the BRT from the tyranny of tricycles, minibuses called Korokwe, while expanding our waterways capacity in order to achieve our intermodal transport objectives. Yes, there may be people who own tricycles in this hall. There may be people who operate Korokwe in this hall, and they will not like that part of my speech. At the time we tried to restrict the movement of motorcycles in Lagos State, I noticed some hesitancy in the cabinet meeting when we were discussing the bill that was supposed to go to the House. So I stopped the meeting and I called my chief of staff and asked him, why are our colleagues not embracing this? He said, oh God, they run motorcycles. They finance them, some of their family. I said, okay. But whatever it takes here, we will pass this law. We did, and thankfully, we listed X number of routes for the restriction to be implemented. The House of Assembly expanded the number of routes in a very, very life-saving and courageous piece of legislative representation. And the same thing happened when we were going to pass the law to reduce rent collection from multiple years to 1 year. I don't think any cabinet member even supported that law. But the power of the government sometimes can be used for being a good bully. So, let me ask Governor Sanwo to use his power to be a good bully. Because we must reclaim the BRT. We spent a lot of time, a lot of money, and we gained a lot of fame. We can put that right under this. And I think, and let me be clear, for me, the proliferation of motorcycles, tricycles, and those minibuses on Lagos roads are in clear conflict. They're in conflict with the many commitments we have made on climate change because of their high greenhouse gas emissions. And our partners, those we signed these agreements with across the world, must be watching us with some concern. Are these people really serious? I have no objection if the motorcycles can be turned to CNG, if they can be turned, the Korokwe can be turned to, and the federal government is proposing now very massive fiscal reforms in terms of tax holidays, tax remissions in clean energy sector of of our environment. But I think something needs to be done. That's another reminder. Of course, let me quickly go and try to round up now by pointing out that our world today is rewarding talent in an unprecedented way. Talent is being rewarded in an unprecedented way. So back in the time, we were forbidden for playing football, or for trying to be musicians, or for trying to be thespians. We had to go and study accounting, but the world has changed. And you can go and ask Mbappe's parents or Cristiano Ronaldo's family just what playing football now does, or our young international artists. So the world has changed, and the town planner must be conscious of this in how we now use our land resources to grow those opportunities. Because what used to be our own hobbies are now the professions of young people. This is their occupation. Playing football, sports, basketball, all of those. Singing, performing arts. And therefore, we must provide the environment that enables that to thrive, so that we can confront youth unemployment on an expansive scale. I believe that the sports and entertainment field provides the answer in a large scale to the problem of youth unemployment. And I say that the answer is hiding in plain sight. It's tiring at us, but we're not seeing it. So I want to remind us here that we should look at it. So the town planner, in my view, must now be thinking of where our new stadium will be, where our concert arenas will be, new film studios, and performance centers. So just imagine that we didn't have this. Where would we be hosting this? And as the country starts to expand our interstate roads and rail network, I think the planner must begin to envision the development of new housing estates and settlements within a few kilometers of each rail station and major federal highway interchanges. When the Lagos-Ibadan Rails project started, as Minister of Housing, I wrote to all the governors across that road to tell their town planners to look for land of 20, 40, 30 hectares that were contiguous to the rail station and begin to develop new town settlements to them. That advice then is still relevant today. And so that once people find residence contiguous to 2 kilometers walk to the train station, they will live there. And this is the way I think we must begin to think. Of course, in planning these estates now, we must include all of these talent supporting infrastructure, the mini stadia, the town halls, the concerts, the recreational services and all of that. These are ingredient parts of state development plans that will then be executed in phases from administration to administration. MICE is the acronym for meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions. So how many MICE events are we hosting here? How many people are coming from other parts of the world to come and host conferences here? We are all too quick to go to Rwanda, to go to Kenya, to go to South Africa. But why can't they be quick to come here? It just needs us to change the game. And this is the role, in my view, also of the planner. For me, people say, well, there is no money. But I always say, where is the plan? We should focus more on planning extensively, planning imaginatively, planning ambitiously. Because if there is a good plan, money will follow the plan. And I think that if there is any state that has demonstrated as a subnational its creditworthiness with the financial sector and has raised successful bonds against the odds, it is Lagos State. So Lagos State should plan, and Lagos State can raise the funding for any development plan it has conceived. And I think the time has now come, in my view, for Lagos State to consider and aggressively pursue single project bonds. So instead of just a state bond, one critical bridge, one critical highway, a bond for it. And I think that we will be pleasantly excited at what it can bring for us. Of course, on this part of tourism development and mines and all of that, is to point out that between Badagry and Ekpe, we have a peninsula bordered by the lagoon and the Atlantic. And if you have ever been to Cancun in Mexico or Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, it is not different. It's the same landform. But as I said, how have the town planners designed the evolution? And now that the federal government has committed to building the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, I would like to know from the Lagos town planners what they envision for this corridor. That is our corridor of prosperity, if we position ourselves now. For me, it will be a prolific tourist area facing the Atlantic and backing the peninsula, depending on where you face, and backing the lagoon, rather. And this can be a very, very great employment area where we optimize the benefits of those islands, Ilashe, Inogbe, Ilado, Iru, to Ekpe. So what is different between all the islands in Greece that we go on resort and in Naples? It's the same land. Ours is even better. Weather is stable all year round. So these are the reminders that I think that I like to share. And just to remind us that in about 10 years ago, or 12 years now, investment of about $20 billion moved from one state and came into this state. Just to put us on guard that the reverse can also happen. And it is how we position ourselves. There is no guarantee that our leadership role is reserved. We must continue to earn it, we must continue to reinforce it, we must continue to protect it by being far-sighted and being dedicated. And nobody can lead this conversation than where I started, our town planners. So, in closing, at this our meeting of reminders, I call it a meeting of reminders because that's what town planner and they said we should come and talk about, remind ourselves. So I want to remind us that there were previous commitments made in this state to improve the process of the issuance of development and building approvals. Is that true? Now, a process that takes 2 years to respond to an investor's request for planning approval is sending that investor away. So as I said, the way one state lost an investor and came here, we will lose investors if we don't deal with this. Because especially in a period of price volatility, if the investor cannot get his approval within a number of weeks and his price changes, once bitten, twice shy. So we must remind ourselves. We must remind ourselves also that payment for processing requests for building approvals must be reasonable administrative cost. Reasonable administrative cost. I think that resonates. And if it does, well, you better let the governor hear with a loud applause. But the reason I say that is not to deprive the state of any revenues. It is, in fact, to multiply the state's revenues. And let me tell you why. Payments for planning approval must not be seen and cannot be revenue. They are not sustainable. They are not sustainable as revenue. It's a one-off. But the service that government offers to those who are able to build must not leave a hole in the pocket of government. That's why I say for the reasonable administrative cost to cover the provision of the service. The real revenue comes from prompt approval and then the construction of the asset itself. Because that is where your land use charge will begin to come from because of the value added to the land. And that is sustainable, is yearly. They can't take the building away again. So we must see this, and those who are working for the governor must see this. So the revenues will also come. If the buildings are rented, there is capital gains and all of those things. That's part of the revenue. If the buildings are used for commercial purposes and all of that, the turnover in VAT that comes from those value-added taxes is the real sustainable revenue that the state can project its future on, as well as the personal income taxes that will come from those who are employed where those buildings are used for commercial development and commercial operations. And what I don't see in terms of revenue, I'm sure people who are tax experts will see more than that. But certainly, let us be clear. Payment approval as revenue is tunnel vision, is no vision at all. And of course, if we must maximize the possibilities of these potential revenues, apart from moderating costs, we must now streamline the number of agencies that an applicant must go through. But hey, this is not new, we're just reminding ourselves. This is a meeting of reminders. Because this is deliberate strategic ease of doing business initiative. Reduce the number of agencies, compress them, and use technology. The more complex the process, the more expensive it becomes, and the cost then makes it less attractive to business, and they might go somewhere else. Ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the reminders I can think of within the context of the time and on the theme of the summit. I do hope that they help to set the stage for other eminent contributors who will not only stimulate our collective memories about those things I have forgotten, but they will also inspire us about the emerging possibilities in the profession of town planning. I wish you all very fruitful deliberations, and I thank you for listening. Thank you very much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with a standing ovation, may we please appreciate. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite our very phenomenal Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Sanwo, to please step forward and then help present this award to pleasure to invite our dear Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Sanwo, for his opening remarks.
You can't stay here. You can't stay here. You can only leave it because it's going on live.
I once had a very unique opportunity to have served in his government. His Excellency, former Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Fashola, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Commander of the Order of Nigeria. Thank you very much for coming out of we won't call it retirement. You're coming out of your space to come and once again give us the tonic and the skill and the sheer intelligence and brilliance that they are known for. Thank you very much. I want to say and acknowledge that with wisdom like this, we need to have a plan where we continue to write a check for our former so that we can continue to draw from our world of experience. Thank you very much for coming. Through you really is to acknowledge other members of those great cabinets, 2007 to 2011, 2011 to 2015. Quite a number of them are here. In those cabinets, especially for 2007 to 2011, is a certain rule that some of us sit. And the moment you present your memo or your cabinet papers, and we raise our hands in that manner, then you know that you have a problem. So what usually happens is you must have a consultation with those people on that role before you just go ahead and present your memo. If not, it will not fly. Even a lot of time the government wants to use his veto, and they look at that side and they will need to appease us for it to go. I want to apologize each and every one of you here today. Members of my own cabinet, thank you very much. You also listen and learn. And I will talk about you because it was a very short speech. I want to apologize each and every one. Thank you very much to all of our traditional leaders, our fathers, that have also turned up here. Because if you don't know, a whole lot of them are original landowners. So this summit and all of the things that our guest speakers have said today, they are also, they've taken copious notes, and they understand and appreciate that they all need to work collaboratively to build that city or that city-state that we all live in. Thank you very much, Cabinet City, for honoring us, for listening carefully to all the benefits that comes around ensuring that we work together. Only of you say thank you very much. We know you are an international builder. Cabinet City, thank you very much. Amara, thank you very much. Irene, thank you. Thank you. And of course, all of this is represented by the White Cap Chief Justice. Thank you all very much. To all of our international audience and partners, I see some of you, and thank you very much for being part of this. To professionals in the build, in the planning space that have come out here this morning to afternoon to be part of this summit, I want to thank you very, very much. And want to acknowledge that indeed you are the reason why we're here. It's really for all of us to set out an agenda that can create a win-win situation. And that's why we're welcome and we're happy that you're all part of this today's summit. And so I stand here today with a lot of gratitude, but with great pleasure and with responsibility to declare open this conference, the Lagos Planning Summit 2024, which is a pivotal event aimed at shaping the future of our mega city. And I'm still involving, the summit theme, rethinking Lagos, a vision for regional and independent mega city. We see that not only timing is art, but you see, it has made my job a lot more difficult. Because when you are now meant to give, I don't know if it's a remark, after the keynote speaker, the man that has held this position before, that has seen everything at both the sub-national level and at the national level, has spoken. And it would be very unfair for me to want to go through the 700 pages of the speech that is written for me. It's really for me to thank all of you. I assure all of you that what our guest speaker has said Thank you very much, Fashola, for reminding us of things and for explaining clearly what the mega city is and how it has given me millions and millions of problems. Because when you have millions and millions of citizens, you also come with a lot of challenge. But more importantly, the place of the Tampana in that mega city consciousness. The place of the Tampana in that construct and how we need to ensure that they take a rightful place. We as leaders can create that opportunity for them. But they themselves as Tampanas must rise up, must stand up, must be counted to fully be able to take a rightful place. Because indeed the cities are owned by them. It is only when they make those commitments and they make those first steps that all of us can follow. And of course, we actually, thank you. You can see an array of those city planners and campaigners here. From City Abosede, who was our commissioner for campaigning there, from Mr. President's time, and Governor Fashola also to Tampana, who thank you very much for bringing our former governor to come in and speak with us. To Tampana, Fuji, to Tampana, Dr. Sanwo, and now to Tampana, Menta. To all of you, where is your place in history? Where is your place in history? In the history of that mega city that we've all big together, how do you want to remember? How well are you placing that role? How well are you standing up? Because they are also fellows. Like you see the lawyers, you see the accountants, you see the doctors standing up. How well are campaigners also standing up for themselves and taking their right place? I think that's one of the points that you all need to take in from here. And I'm also shows how not to plan. which is only one road that leads to that place. How do we conceive it? How do we get to that place? I don't want to diminish or reduce the price by that place, so I'll keep quiet. But the truth is, was all conceived by town planners who truly really must now think back and ask themselves, have they truly really planned well for us? Have they truly really taken their position that is deserving of them? So the question is, what next for TLS? I remember too well in that cabinet, way back in 2008 or 2009, when we were having incidents back-to-back of building collapses. And Sister Apostle said, and I was actually the vice chairman of that, and I was on the town planner of that building, where we took almost a week at the peninsula results, envisioning and critiquing what was the problem for us at that time, which led Mr. Former Governor to the setup of the various building control agencies, where at that time it was all planning. We didn't have anything around building control, which was some of the things that gave birth to what we know as LAPTAC. I know too well that those were times when we said to ourselves that all of the problems that we were facing, we do not wish to confront them again. But given what our guest speaker accepted, and he has called it a session of reminders, there are lots of reminders that we all need to take away from here actually. So while we commend the Office of Fiscal Planning for bringing us together at this conference, it's also an opportunity for us to tell ourselves the whole truth and be able to challenge not only the professional, but each and every one of us that have a role to play. Either you as a financier, you as a lawyer, in whatever aspect, to understand that you have a role to play. Once the planners have set a template, why would you want to bribe them? Why would you want to compromise them professionally? Why would you want to go around and say to them that I know they can make this work, but I'm not making too level up? And that's why these reminders are important for us. And like I said, at that time started the ideas around building control agencies. Push for the full implementation and was able to segregate those agencies at that time. Once upon a time, the Ministry of Fiscal Planning that you have today used to Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Environment. Environment, I can see my Ebon, Anibaba. Is he there? Exactly. He used to be Commissioner for Environment, Fiscal Planning, Town Planning, everything all put together. It was out of the concept of our president and our government there that we said environment go your place, fiscal planning go your place. Environment has since become environment and drainage, also for that broken down. Fiscal planning today are seriously broken down. Now I have two cabinet members that are in fiscal planning, one in fiscal planning, one in regional, which is where we are, so that we can unbundle all of those bureaucracies and everybody can stand alone and be able to work professionally. Today, the likes of Dr. Sanwo play their role. We have the Commissioner for Fiscal Planning, who I keep telling that we have a unique opportunity to also write your own name in gold. So this summit is not just for us to come and listen. It's truly really for us to take the oath, to challenge ourselves, and and to say to ourselves that never again will some things happen in this our mega city. And like our next speaker has also reminded us that any money we do without putting utilities like providing water, they were just starting. I want to assure you that the idea of phase 2 that we talked about was just a week ago or 2 weeks ago that we brought back Mr. Salini and Tijani somewhere here, that he brought that big project back to cabinet, and we needed to tell ourselves the difficult truth and raise money to complete that project. I'm happy that my teacher but Fashola wasn't aware what I went through to ensure that we bring that decision. And you can see sometimes when I insist that people are watching it, people are asking questions, and people expect the best from us. Similarly, he had also reminded me and I told me that there's some little powers and I need to remember. There was a very contentious cabinet member in which at the end of the day I had to put that veto. We were confronted with getting an approval to set up a Lagos State University of Medical Sciences as a deliberate attempt to fit the gap of lack of having qualified medical professionals, doctors, nurses, and other health. And started with the dreams. That's the thing that we talked about. They've seen the benefit of it now. And they are going to have that medical. He also reminded us that there is a need for us when we're planning to have a lot of spaces for sporting and recreational facilities. They will remember it again. There was a day that I got a memo that 10 states I wanted to build it in one day. They did not believe it. And I have to insist again that we need to build those 10 states here as forms of operation in and metropolis. You can see where I got all of those indications of ensuring that Lagos always receives the very best. Thank you very much for reminding us of some of the things that we also initiated. Blue Line, which today has carried over 3 million people. Red Line, which coincidentally today at about 4:30 we are inviting all of you. We're going to be starting the commercial operation of the Red Line later today. From the Menta train station. And so what the city is telling us is that journeys that will either take 2 hours, 2.5 hours from the Menta train station all the way to Davido, we will complete it in less than 15 minutes. That is the vision of the former governor and the leadership of Lagos that repeated for us. Thank you for reminding us. What we need the assurance today that our concept of integrated public transportation system is on track and we will not disappoint you. Why do I say so? I was in the government when I first took the first trip and I used to brag about it to Curitiba and Porto Alegre and Sao Paulo in Brazil. I told them that I conceived with you the first DRC bus traffic system there. I'm happy to announce that later today I'm also meeting with a group of our financiers and concessionaires, and by next year additional 2,000 CNG buses will be in Lagos or will be built, some in Lagos, some outside Lagos, to refleet and to bring back all of our BRT urban mass transportation initiative to make sure that it's on track and it's on course. We've seen the issues around Okada, Tekemiapet, and Kuruwe, and the rest of them. Apart from them not fitting with our mass urban transportation system, we understand the feeling of our people. And so we were trying to reorganize them and put them at national positions, but not for them to begin to crowd our highways and our major roadways. So we believe that alternatives should be provided, and adequate alternatives is part of the things that our rail, our water infrastructure, and now the BRT that will also, be given all of the commuters for public transportation in Lagos. So thank you again for reminding us about that. You also reminded us that as planners, we need to be audacious, we need to be ambitious, and we need to be very creative and ensuring that we can indeed plan for the future. We can plan to build cities where centers like this can be replicated, entertainment centers can be further built. I want to assure you, sir, that those plans are ongoing, and my last trip was also to sign an MOU that will go into a contract where the construction of a modern international convention center for Lagos will start very, 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 very soon. I know that the finance people with us know too well that there are plans in place, and Lagos can take it for us to have financing strategy where we can fund projects understandably, where we can have a bond to fund individual specific projects and have them standing. Finance team are here, and the challenge us again that we need to be able to creatively get to work and see how that will happen. But the big elephant in the room was when our guest speaker, former governor, spoke about the reduction in buying and Tiwa. If you were to stand for another election, clearly the approach in the room have given me another vote. But the point is not lost on me, and certainly not on our team. We understand what that means. We understand what that implies. As I was coming in this morning, and I went to understand, part of the things, and I'm sure they're there, was that why do any person asking for approval need to go through all of these offices? Why must you put on your lower banner that you must get Lamata approval, get Niwa approval, get fiscal crime approval, get environment approval, get building approval? Right now, this morning, and I said, in itself, it kills investors, it kills investment. They were trying to explain to me that it's bad applicable. No! It's not bad applicable. In itself, it's discouraging. Don't leave those initiatives to younger officers when somebody brings in something and the person doesn't come to see that banner and the man sees 15 list of approvals and the list of no objections. And that's why I'm happy with all of us as stakeholders that are here. there. And that's why there is no need for my speech. Just to rehearse and take the point of what the keynote speaker, and that's why they call them keynote speaker. And take the note and take the point. So, Mr. Honorable Commissioner, while I was making the point, I didn't know that our keynote speaker was going to bring the same point. Sit down, hold on. Anyway, argue with me why they need to do a planning and plan for 1 hectare. And I'm asking the lady, in the 1 hectare, the person wants to have a school, must the person have a church, must the person have a praying center on 10,000 square meters. That in itself is killing investment. I didn't know that investment was going to bring it up. So, TPL, Tampamas, please, we need to think out of the box. We need to be very creative. We need to know what the citizens want. We need to know what is international best practices. But more importantly, we need to take the front lead so that all of us can work with you and give you that right place. But the guest speaker also has quietly encouraged me to see how I increase that use charts. First, it's on a sustainable basis, and the land will be coming regularly on a year-on-year basis. I want to assure you that this is the responsible and the responsible government. We take all the points, we take all the issues. Our commitment is to continue to ensure that the ease of doing business is improved upon, is enhanced, that will not kill investors, will not kill investment, will not drive away funding. If anybody I do well, and money is fungible, and money usually go to the best place, to the best result that requires and have a government for it. And so we cannot be complacent even with our mega city startups. We need to continue to think out of the box and challenge ourselves to ensure that FDIs that come into our space are real, because they can always get value for their investment. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost gloom. A few things that the fiscal planning, usually there are various master plans, have also been able to do for us. And that builds the point around some of the major bridges and infrastructure that we've seen around Lagos in the last 6 or 7 years. It includes the Agege Flyover Bridge, was in the master plan, the Ajah Flyover was in the master plan, the Abulega Flyover was in the master plan, the transportation master plan working with them, back the Papa Road overpass, back the Yaba overpass, back the Mushi overpass, back the Kenya overpass. So you can see that it's not all bad cases for the partners. Working with our transport experts, they've been able to recreate some of this investment as well. And on that trajectory as well, there's a plan for another Ikotun overpass. And you also can see, yes, Ikotun, we're coming there. Yes. We use the video. And also the ongoing overpass. Why am I saying this? These are all collaborative efforts between the Ministry of Transportation and the Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development. We've seen also major developmental growth in our mega cities. Lekki International Airport investment that have been created from the various master plans that this ministry, current and previous, have been able to design for us. And in aligning with that, there's a whole lot of additional fiscal infrastructure that we need to build for some of these investments to be fully realized. We know of the Lagoon Highway, which is on the Lekki Regional Master Plan. Just yesterday, again at the cabinet meeting, for 2 hours, I had to hold the, what's it called? The pointer to show the cabinet the journey from Tottenham all the way to the future Lekki International Airport. For them to simulate and appreciate the concept of regional master layout on the Lagoon Highway and how it will change completely. How it will change completely the future of Lagos and was. And it took me quite a while for them to see. I don't need to insist on this one, I don't need to veto, but once we could show them, they saw the benefit of some of the big jobs that some of these farmers done. And so that is part of the growth plan in ways of rethinking the new vision of Lagos that we talked about. The 7 Arterial Road, the Lagos Coastal Road, and of course, the regional road that we're building and all the important 4th mainland roads. These are all infrastructures that have been designed, laid out by these partners, are in our works to be part of the new vision of the Lagos that we're all building. Climate change is real, and in all and every of these decisions, we're not unaware of the effect of climate change, how we need to build resilience capabilities to ensure that Lagos can absorb shock and can respond to issues of climate change when it does happen. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that today and tomorrow will give all of us as professionals, as planners, as risk managers, as financial analysts, as legal analysts, to put all our thinking cap together and be able to fashion the new vision for a Lagos society that we all want. We believe that it is only a guidance like this, it's only an environment like this, that we all can join together and bring about lasting solutions, reminders, new thoughts, new ideas that can help secure these mega states that we all call home and place of home. And after closing, I want to, on your behalf, thank again our guest speaker for stimulating our thoughts, for bringing forward reminders, thought-provoking conversation that will help reshape our thoughts and path that new idea, that new path that we're working through. Confident that the wealth of experience of all the other speakers, even after me, will help re-image the future of Lagos that all of us are concerned about. Therefore, my honor and great pride that I want to declare this maiden fiscal planning summit for 2024 as I look forward to a fruitful collaboration, a fruitful generation with all of you, our dear stakeholders. And also my honor to launch another idea they call the Permit Identification Card, PIT, which I'm told will make all building approvals form of identity. And then the functional will explain that in details to us. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. Hope and enjoy the next week. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mrs. Brown.
Thank you very much. Please let's get down and hands together for Mrs. Goldmyne. Thank you very much.
If we please have the attention of all the media, pressmen, and go ahead to ensure full coverage of this task.
So it's a planning permit, Lagos State Planning Permit Authority. So this is the barcode. The building is covered by building permits. So you scan it and you see all of the details of the approvals and everything with this barcode. I think this is innovation, and we're using technology to also access other facilities. Thank you very much.
We sure hope you enjoyed this video. For more entertaining video content such as behind the scenes of music videos and movies, music concerts, premieres, interviews, and exclusive gists, subscribe now to our YouTube channel Goldmyne TV and be unleashed into a world of super excitement.